Nigga, please. Serious.
How do it equivalent?
Camino lento, la notte pesa sulle spalle mie. Stringo il freddo, tu dormi ancora nel mio letto. E mentre notte pesa sulle spalle mie. Stringo il freddo, tu dormi ancora nel mio letto. E mentre
How we doing this morning, y'all? Shout out to everybody in the audience. Shout out to all the early birds. Appreciate you guys coming through. Get that like button up for me. Hit those likes, y'all. Hit those likes. We are getting started. It's gonna be a quick one today. But I got some thoughts I got to get off my chest, y'all. This is just burning me up here. Who are we helping by making Helen of Troy a woman from the Congo? Isn't Wakanda enough? As Black people, we already have our own mythological, semi-historical city of Black greatness, right? We already have Wakanda. Why do we need Troy? Why do we need Troy? We already have Wakanda. And look, Smarty Pants, I am a fan of Robert Steffer. I know pretty much everything he would tell you about this subject. And shout out to Smarty Pants with the $2 super chat. Look up Mansa Musa Was White by Robert Steffer. Yeah, yes, white man, y'all was allegedly African kings. According to Robert Steffer, the white man was an African king.
Wait, what? Rich, now what's our motto? We was kings. We was kings!
Now, I want to show you guys something. Speaking of Robert Steffer, I think he is the one who produced this image. Now, if you go, let's start with Helen of Troy. I don't even, oh my God. For some reason, for personal reasons, the Star Trek shit burns me up even more because I used to watch Star Trek a lot, and I have some very personal feelings about what they're doing. Look at how they massacred my boy. But we're going to get to Star Trek in a minute. But this is a computer-generated image, and I'm pretty sure Robert Steffer put this up on Twitter. If you were to feed in historical descriptions of Helen of Troy into the AI bot, this is the image that it would spit out to you. First of all, Helen of Troy was around 12 or 13 years old. So we're going to put that to the we're going to put that aside. You're going to just set our comfort level aside for the moment. But yeah, Helen was basically a young prepubescent girl. So that was weird. But she was basically Germanic. People don't know this. A lot of people don't know this, but that whole part of the world, they called it the Hellenic period. The Greeks were a little bit lighter back then. You know, to this day, even I think if you go to like northern Italy, you know, the Italians are famously known for being olive-skinned and brunettes and whatnot, but northern Italians have blonde hair and blue eyes. So it's a pretty fair chance that Helen of Troy looked roughly like this. She looked way more like that than Lupita Nyong'o. And now here's the question. Who are you helping? Who does it benefit to make Helen of Troy Lupita Nyong'o? Like, theoretically, the idea is that more Black representation means, I don't know, less racism. Like, people are going to be more comfortable seeing Black images. Therefore, they're going to be happier. But when you do this overt, and it's not just like it's a pure, it's not like they're aliens in a comic book where underneath the makeup, it doesn't really matter who's who. Like, technically anybody could be under the Klingon. I mean, not Klingon. I mean, hell yeah, the original Klingons were white dudes too. What was that, Christopher Lloyd or something? But I was thinking of Predator, actually, right? Like, anybody can wear the Predator suit. But it's sort of like Nick Fury. Nick Fury was originally a white guy, and then we kind of reordered the entire Marvel world to make Nick Fury into Samuel Jackson. And nobody really blinked. We all kind of went with it because we collectively like Samuel Jackson, and Nick Fury wasn't that like widely known of a character that it all offended. It offended so many like sensibilities and whatnot. But then when you start to take historical figures that are actual, that are real, that have a history, they left an impact on the world, and you try to race swap them, then it raises the question of who are you trying to help? Is making Helen of Troy an African, not just a black woman. Like, it's not just like Detroit. She's not like a light-skinned chick from the Bronx, right? Like, you made her African. Who benefits from this? Is this going to make white people more racist or less racist, right? Because theoretically, it kind of does play into a particular black stereotype of like, you niggas always stealing shit. Key descriptions from Homer, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Helen is most famously called white-armed, emphasizing pale, smooth arms, a sign of aristocratic leisure. Women of high status stayed indoors, avoiding sun-darkened skin. Lovely-haired or fair-haired, indicating beautiful, well-groomed hair. Long robe, long dress, so the dress means nothing. No one could blame the Greeks and Trojans for fighting so long over someone who looks so strikingly like the immortal goddesses in face and appearance. Now think about this. They want you to imagine that the immortal gods and goddesses of Greek culture were black women. And black women are definitely with the shits.
A lot of people seem to not understand me.
Science proves that the black woman is God. We're not just saying that.
And the black and Latino women, they manifested themselves out of dark matter energy. All right.
I believe the black woman is God.
Black woman, God. I don't believe God, no man. I believe God, a black woman.
The black woman is God.
But my number one subject matter is the black woman is God. That's first and foremost.
Black woman is God.
The black woman is still God.
You're God, black woman.
The black woman is God. She is the creator. She is the sustainer. She is the provider. She is the first teacher of the children. She is everything to the black race.
But don't get it wrong. I am still a white man's whore.
Sappho, a later poet, calls her golden or blonde light-haired, often interpreted as golden blonde, reddish blonde, or light brown hair. All three of those hair colors aren't typically associated with the Negro hair texture. Euripides and others echo golden curls. So she had curly blonde hair even. Some post-Homeric accounts mention fair complexion, large eyes, and well-built form, with one late summary saying she had the best legs, cutest mouth. Oh, damn. They said she had a purty mouth. Does Lupito look like she has a purty mouth? Does Lupito look like, Lupe? Does Lupe look like you got a purty mouth? Because the Greeks described Helen as having the cutest mouth. And she was 12, mind you. I mean, God, can we stop being weird about the children? Anyway, modern retellings, novels, films, and art often imagine her as a classic blonde with fair skin, blue-green eyes, and idealized Greek proportions. Long hair, slender yet curvaceous, right? Long hair. Long hair. Could you at least strap some blonde weave on this bit? Long hair, y'all. Long hair. Can we at least do the long hair bit? I mean, you've denied me many, 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 many things by making Helen of Troy Keisha from Detroit. But could you at least slap a blonde weave on her? How hard is it to find a blonde weave? In all of Hollywood, could you not find one blonde weave? Which, to be fair, it would probably make it look even more cringe if you put her in a blonde curly weave. But if you're going to go all the way Helen, you can't stop short at Lupita. You got to go all the way Helen. Helen did not have a kinky, short 4C afro. It did not for nothing. I hate to even get this bleak with it, but the interracial dating numbers are what they are, meaning that white women are moderately attracted to black men. It's not like a huge crazy thing, but there's some life there, right? Whereas white men are almost negatively attracted to black women. Like in the grand totality, if you look at like dating site numbers and all the people record the swipes and whatnot, the white male attraction for black women is effectively -1. Like if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, the white men are willing to part with a handful of white women just as long as you keep black women away from white men. It's a weird deal that we're making right there. Like you can have the excess Beckys as long as you keep the excess Keishas to yourselves. I don't know how I feel about the deal, but that appears to be the deal. And the question I'm building up to is how many white men would fight a 20-year war for that face? Is that a face that you would fight a 20-year war over? Like when Odysseus, I think, was it Odysseus, whoever that one guy that made it home all the way, and he had I forget how the story went, but after he finally made it home after all the war, because even after the war, just getting home was a journey into itself. That's what I think like the Odyssey is really about, or the Iliad or whatever. It was really the post-war thing. And when he finally made it home, nobody recognized him. His wife had been holding out the box for like 20 years. All the men in the town were like, look, you got way too much power and privilege to just be holding up the box. It's like a political thing now. You got to marry a nigga or something. And so the husband came home right in the middle of this whole deal and got his broad back. It was a whole thing. And I'm just saying, like, which one of you niggas is going to stay away from your wife for 20-something years so another nigga could get this box? Like, look at that face. Are you going to say bye to your woman for 20 years so another nigga could hunt that box down, bro? Is that really the face that set sail 1,000 ships, bro? Is that really the face that a generation of white men died for? Are you really trying to tell me that's what happened? Are you really trying to tell me that's what they were giving it up for?
But if man had to find out that his God was a woman,
I say the black woman is God, and
black woman is God.
I say the black woman is God.
The black woman is God because, she was the first organism on this planet.
1,000 ships set sail so young white men could crash out for a face like that. And then not for nothing, but like, is it just me? Or is that like Lupita Nyong'o was very attractive in Wakanda? Lupita Nyong'o looked like royalty in Wakanda. All right, I'm just throwing it out there. Let's go all the way. Let's just go all the way. When you're traveling the backwaters, the villages, the slums, even when you're on Upper West Side Wakanda, where all the wealthy tribal rich niggas live, when you're on Upper West Side Wakanda, where the bad bitches live, and they got little tiny foo-foo dogs and shit like that, Lupita Nyong'o is a bad bitch over there. And the global ranking of bad bitches, though, I don't know if she really registers in the global ranking of baddies. I just got to put that out there. I don't think Lupita is a global baddie. I think she's a Wakanda low 8. She's like a struggling 8 in Wakanda. You line her up next to all the women in Wakanda, a good 80% of them are going to bow out, right? That's what I mean. She's like a low 8. She's a struggling Wakandan 8. But when you put her on the global rankings of all the women in the world, oh my God. Yeah, yes, Jerry. Yeah, I am saying she is a 10 standing next to M'Baku. You put her next to M'Baku, and she looks like a bad bitch. Like she's a baddie next to M'Baku, though. But you know that movie with the sunglasses with Roddy Piper, where he put the sunglasses on. You look at her with them sunglasses on, bro, you gonna run away. I'm telling you, you get a look at her in the real daylight, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know about this. That's all I'm saying. But in the dark light of Wakanda, because they got that funny dome, so shit probably looks different through the prism of the Wakandan dome. She looks crazier. She looked way different in Wakanda. Like you put her in that Wakandan, like she's a good 8. So the Wakanda 8, a US 4 is crazy, bro. A Wakanda 8 is a European 4. No bull. Like, come on, man. And the thing is, like, of all the black women that you could have picked to be like a classical historical beauty, this is really the best you could do, y'all. You might as well have got that chick that be like cop blocking Ariana Grande. What's that bald-headed black chick that be cop blocking for Ariana Grande? Cynthia. You might as well put Cynthia Revo in there. Like, what are you doing? Why am I like you know what? Speaking of like the face that set sail 1,000 ships, I don't think 1,000 niggas from Detroit going to war for her. Let me ask the men in the chat. Would you crash out for Lupita? Like, I'm pretty sure as a general rule, like every man has a woman he'd be willing to crash out for. And crashing out for Lupita isn't that far off from crashing out for Cynthia Erivo. Like, neither one of them are really all that high up on the crash out list. Like, I could understand a nigga crashing out for a young Halle Berry. Hell, 20 years ago, I could understand some of you pro-black Afrocentric niggas crashing out for a young Lauryn Hill. I don't see a lot of niggas crashing out for Lupe. I mean, come on, man. Only homeless niggas is crashing out over Lupe. The only niggas that's crashing out over Lupe is niggas that's desperately trying to get their life back together. That's the only niggas crashing out over Lupe. I'm sorry. I have to be honest. That's not a face that 1,000 niggas is crashing out over. Niggas with stink breath and low self-esteem crash out over Lupe. I'm just not seeing it. Like, and then you got to understand the Trojan War wasn't a crash out. It was like a cataclysmic nuclear galactic level crash out. Like, in terms of Greek history, this was like the last clash of the Titans, basically. Like, in terms of Greek history, it was like the last battle where the gods directly interfered in the affairs of man, right? That's the level of crash out the Trojan War was. And I can't imagine getting to that level of crash out over Lupe. I'm like, come on, man. Look, dudes fresh out the pen would crash out for her, would fight for her. This is what I'm saying. Niggas that done question every decision they made in life crash out for Lupe. Niggas with a track record of really bad decision making crash out over Lupe. Is all I'm saying. I don't see that historical level of crash out. I just don't. I mean, if we're gonna keep it a buck, the goddamn Prince of Wakanda wasn't crashing out over Lupe. Do you not remember Black Panther? The Prince of Wakanda himself was not crashing out over Lupe. Lupe was like, listen, I'm gonna run around. I want to be a modern, independent woman. You can't tell me nothing. And Wakanda nigga was like, all right, that's cool. I got shit to do anyway. You just be cool like how you be cool. I mean, you could have a palace life and all, but all right, whatever. Like the Prince of Wakanda low key was not even crashing out over Lupe. If the Prince of Wakanda wasn't even pressed over Lupe, how all these white men gonna be pressed over Lupe? Come on, man. Come on, make it make sense. Help me out here. Help me out here. The goddamn Prince of Wakanda was like, you know what? You do you. It's all good. But all these white men crashed out over this space, though.
How do it equivalate?
I'm trying to wrap my mind around it, y'all. I'm really trying to wrap my mind around it. Make me understand. Make me understand. Help me figure this out. Oh man, but anyway, like I said, man, I feel like this is only adding to the racism. You know, not only do you niggas always steal, but you're not even that cute. Like, come on, like this is only making things worse, y'all. And don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the other travesty. Now, you got to forgive me. You got to forgive me. I'm about to nerd out a little bit. Cuz you know, like I said, I grew up watching Star Trek as a kid, and it's only as an adult. See, maturing is recognizing that the Federation is basically a fantasy full of gay space hippies. Ultimately, that's what Star Trek is. It's a gay space hippie fantasy. And I grew up watching that shit. And we got to talk about this shit now.
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not.
All right. First off, this creature should not exist in the world of Star Trek. This is not a creature that the world of Star Trek should have produced. This is a female Jem'Hadar. But not only is it female Jem'Hadar, there's a reason even why it could be female in the first place, because the Jem'Hadar are effectively, they're like the Alpha Quadrant's version of Space Marines. Like, they're genetically engineered warriors. They're all test tube babies, right? Meaning, as a race, they don't need, nor do they require, or even make female Jem'Hadar. It's kind of like in the Lord of the Rings, how there are no female orcs because every orc is kind of made through like some kind of dark blood magic or something. It's literally something just produced. It's not created by natural means, right? As a race, the Jem'Hadar are exactly that. They're basically like Sauron's space orcs, right? So why is there a female Jem'Hadar? I just found this out when I was kind of doing a quick research into the show. Well, apparently they genetically combined Klingon DNA with Jem'Hadar DNA, and that's why you have a female Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid. But either way, this is clearly a Keisha under all the makeup. This is clearly a Keisha Prime under all the makeup, under all the alien hardware, under all the spikes and everything. They clearly decided to make it a Keisha, which it halfway tracks. Not that the Jem'Hadar kind of coded as black, but in the world of Star Trek, the Klingons eventually became a definitively black race. So like in the early Star Trek years, the very first Klingons were obviously a bunch of white folk in blackface, right? It was literally like Christopher Lloyd as the guy from, I think, Back to the Future. By the time Captain Picard became the captain of the Enterprise, and they went out on that whole epic years long, like 12 season voyage, they had decided that we were going to make the Klingons a black race, right? And as I can remember, there are only two definitively black races in the world of Star Trek, and we met them both on the Enterprise. There was that one black race where they were basically straight up Africans. It was a whole ritualized culture thing where, like, very matriarchal culture. It was a like ritual combat for, mating rights and all. It was a very, very weird episode, but it was funny as hell because they just made them straight up African niggas. Like, the irony of it was too palpable, right? It was a classic Star Trek episode, especially if you're like a black Trekkie. And then you got the Klingons, right? And they did a great thing with the Klingons. They didn't just make the Klingons like black and uber violent and mysterious and all that. Like, it was all of that, but at the same time, the Klingons had a weird nobility to them. Kind of like that whole, like, what do you call it? That noble savage idea. The Klingons were kind of like that. They were like the space version of the noble savages. And which I always wondered, like, how does such a savage, violent race even discover something like space travel and warp speed and all that? But there's even lore about that, low key. I'm not gonna get into all that. Like I said, I'm a low key a Trekkie. I know more than most people, but they made the Klingons a little, they had an odd touch of nobility to them. Which brings me to, as a kid, my favorite character on the show, Lieutenant Worf. Lieutenant Worf was not like the other Klingons. He had got, after a battle between the Federation and the Klingon Empire, and he was raised by Federation people. And they weren't even white either, if I remember. They were like, I don't know, like some type of Persian-looking family or whatever. I can't totally remember. But he was that classic fish out of water character. And he kind of acquitted himself nobly on almost every occasion. He was like that one guy that never failed. Worf almost never let you down. And he, oddly enough, became a weird symbol of, like, black people on TV, right? Worf, and then he had a double kind of, he had a layered character, because on the one hand, he was the one Klingon in all of the Federation And so to them, he was like, oh my God, this Klingon, like, what the hell? But to the eyes of Klingons, he was basically a coon. And so Worf had that whole kind of story arc of trying to be a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, Worf was the classic version of a coon trying to be a real nigga. Like, I got to prove to all these other niggas that not only can I master the Federation of the white man's world, but I got to prove to these niggas that I'm a nigga too. And I dare you to disrespect me. I'll put this goddamn bat left right in your gut. Comply, nigga. Like, Worf was on some shit. And he made you respect his mission. They put him through the ceremony.
That's right. The animal's head exploded like...
I think that's enough, Chief O'Brien.
Wesley Crusher. What does he know about it?
Just bear with me.
Where are we going?
The heart.
Worf was always just a big, tough nigga. My bad, I gotta drop this graphic. I didn't realize I left it up. But Worf just always came across as like the big, strong black guy. And as a Hollywood character, like as an archetype, it worked, especially back then in the late 80s, early 90s or whatever, where like that whole cry for black representation and all that was starting to become more of a thing. But low key, we always had black characters in movies and TV, but it was like, you know, a lot of bad guy roles and stuff like that. So Worf was like, you know, the strong black man character type. And not only that, there's another thing about Worf that like kind of hit home a little bit too. Worf was a single dad. Get this. He was a single dad to a Klingon bitch that did him dirty. The nigga had baby mama drama in space, y'all. The nigga was a single dad to a Klingon bitch who tried to keep his kid from him. Straight up hid his kid from him like, well, I didn't think you needed to know. I can handle this. I'm strong and independent. I'm a Klingon bad bitch. I was like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? So like growing up, watching the sort of Worf, how Star Trek writers treated the character of Worf, I love the character. You know what I mean? They really made a character that you could look to as a young kid and be like, yeah, this is dope. Like the storylines and all that, the character arc, all that stuff was dope. Had the whole father-son relationship thing going on. It was like that whole thing was dope, right? And then, you know what they did, y'all? Because the Klingons were too tough. They were too dominant. They were too masculine. They were too virile. They were too alpha. They were just too badass for the new modern version of Hollywood writers. And so they basically made the Klingons gay. After a character like Worf, they totally nerfed the Klingons.
Holodeck.
This is truly trying my patience, counselor.
I think
this is truly trying my patience, counselor. Worf was such a fucking... He was just a straight up alpha character. And then they gave us this stuff. The Klingon YN. They gave us a nigga named Jaden, y'all. That's his real name. Jaden. They gave him a YN name. Jaden Cragg. Yeah, I know. And not only that, get this. He has Not one, but two gay dads. And both of his gay black dads abandoned him. Yes. Jaden is a product of two gay Klingon fathers who abandoned him. Because, you know, even in the Klingon world, your dad always walks out on you. What in the Klingon? What in the galaxy is happening here? Listen, if you're going to make the Klingons gay YNs, you might as well let them be white girls too. What are we even doing now? Let the Klingons be white now. Fuck it. I don't even care anymore. If they're going to be little gay YNs, they can be blonde white women too. There are no rules anymore. No, Chocolate Bunny, what's going on? And no, everything is not okay. The Klingons are gay now. White women are singing Let It Snow in the Klingon language. And I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what to do anymore. I have no idea what's happening. But this is where we are now. Oh, did she say Jaden's name? She's really singing Let It Snow in Klingon. Thank you. Shout out to Chocolate Bunny for gifting memberships. That makes it feel better, at least. Now at least you can ease the pain.
Get it again. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. I come in the name of Jesus. Repeat it after me, bitch. I come in the name of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Let's meet the cadets, y'all.
So much money and so much size and so many people behind something like this, and the fact that they can trust.
So that's Jaden, the Klingon gay YN. They got this other weird looking black chick. Like, I think she's a regular human, but she looks like an alien at the same time. It's so strange.
Young actors with that responsibility of telling a story to an audience that have loved it for longer than I've been alive is a very special feeling.
Why does everything have to be a full-on lesson in this place?
Because it's a school, Caleb.
Caleb means to me what
then is on
this idea of having a solid foundation to stand upon.
Do no harm's not a phrase you hear a whole lot in Klingon.
Jaden.
Not only is he gay, he's also like a nurse too. So he's a gay Klingon and he's like a nurse. He's like a male nurse too. Oh my God. You know, I was thinking about this problem of black representation in Hollywood, and it occurs to me that even that has kind of been inverted and weaponized. You know, once upon a time, black folk would appear in movies and TV shows, and it would almost be like, you know, not a thing. Like there would always be a black guy on the team or whatever. And then they decided, all right, we're going to make, you know, certain movies had, you know, the black megastars. We got the Will Smiths and whatnot. We got Blade and shit like that. And then a strange thing started to happen. They started to take these characters that were the traditional black male archetype. You know, they were big, they were strong, they were proficient at violence, yet they had a righteousness to them. So they were always on the good side of things, right? They took that character and then they started to make them woke. They made them more emotionally complex, which on screen, it always translates into a big, buff black nigga on the verge of tears all the time. Like they took these big, giant, buff niggas and made them cry and made them emotional. They basically gave the big black male archetype the female emotional palette. And then as if that wasn't enough, as if they didn't already bitch up the black male character in the first place, then they just flat out make them gay. And then they make their dads gay too. And now the whole black male universe is basically gay and gay adjacent.
Is unlike any Klingon we have ever seen. Jaden was raised to be a warrior, a killer, but he don't want to do none of that. He would rather save lives and take lives. And that is so dope to me.
You're our first holographic student.
The first of our kind.
Preparing for the role, I really did a lot.
The first holographic student? What even is that? A holographic student? Why? Why do we even have that? Why do you have a student that you can just upload data into? Like literally, what are we even doing here? I didn't even want to talk about this fugly looking shit. No wonder you are fake looking chick. Your face looks fake. You look like an alien born on Earth. Like you are not a real human being.
Inner child work, because for Sam, she's so fresh and she's so newborn-like. Not that Sam is a child, because that's too redundant.
What happened to all the attractive black women in Hollywood, by the way? You know, that's the other part of the representation thing that has been kind of inverted and folded in on itself now. What happened to the Apollonias? What was that one chick back in the day? Oh, I forget her name. She was like a blonde woman with like, well, she's not, well, yeah, she might actually have been blonde. But she had green eyes and she was like a Miss Universe or something like that. And she did movies. She was in that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. God, what was her name? I forget her name now. But like, we had attractive black women in the early 90s and the late 80s. Because it feels like that's when Hollywood peaked. It feels like Hollywood peaked by the 2000s. Around the 2000s, like after The Matrix came out, it all started to go to crap. Vanessa Williams, thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Eric knows. Vanessa Williams. Classic, indistinguishable beauty. Like if you'd have made Vanessa Williams Helen of Troy, people would have been like, come on, man, stop fucking with me. But I still smashed, though. I'm still going, though, but I don't like what you're doing here. People would have accepted it begrudgingly. But you had to make her, you know, Lupe, Lupito, whatever. Like, no. What happened to having actually, like, attractive, like, conventionally beautiful black women on TV? And then what winds up happening is the representation of black women. You know, as much as we have this problem of, you know, the internet black women complaining about their beauty, you know, Hollywood beauty standards and all that, when Hollywood does represent you, look at what they do. And then you get mad at, like, you know, niggas on the internet or whatever. Like, be mad at Hollywood for trying to dumb down what is, you know, what could be beautiful black female characters. It's like you're trying to dumb down attractiveness. Red, that is a great question. How do they get weave in space? It's an interesting question.
But just so I can be in that fresh mind state.
I was programmed to feel 17, but I've only existed a little over 4 months when cast.
Starfleet.
Programmed to feel 17, but in reality, you're only 4 months old. That is such a weird P-file coded character. Your character codes as pedo bait.
The Academy for Sam, it's opening her up soul-wise in a way that she's clearly never felt before.
Darren Ramey, captain of...
Nobody care about you, nigga. Random brown girl. Oh, you're not going to tell me about the female Jim Hadar thingy? Ew. Anyway, you guys suck. But everybody hates this show just because, you know, it's terrible anyway. But I'm kind of focusing on just these individual characters because, like, why do they... Look, he's got the eyebrow piercing.
We've got a main Klingon character in the new series of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Now, this Klingon does seem a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit different. He's a Klingon booty warrior, guys. They turned a warrior species into a booty warrior species, y'all. Is that black representation? Are you niggas happy now? You had a dominant galactic empire, and low-key, the Klingon Empire existed on slavery, by the way. I hope you guys know that. Shout out to the Klingons. Shout out to the Klingons. The Klingon Empire is low-key a gigantic slave empire. And they black. The Klingon Empire is a slave empire full of space kangs, y'all.
Wait, what? Rich, now what's our motto? We was kangs. We was kangs!
Real shit. But he don't want to be a part of the slave empire. He want to go be a doctor with the white people.
Typically, in Star Trek, Klingons have been shown as grumpy and just a little bit violent. Okay, quite a bit violent. The new Klingon, Jaden Krag, played by Kareem Diane, appears to be smiling and having fun in the trailers. It seems this Klingon's goal is to become a doctor in Starfleet. Kareem has stated that he thinks it's obvious that Klingons don't just have warriors, they would also have healers as well.
No, actually, they wrote the Klingon race as if you get injured, you better heal right now, nigga. That's how they wrote the Klingon Empire. If you go back and watch the original Klingons on, well, really it's on the Next Generation where they kind of expanded Klingon lore. But if you watch how they treated the Klingons back in the 90s, if them niggas got shot, they either lived or they died. You didn't really see a Klingon hospital. You never saw Klingon medics. You didn't see the Klingon Red Cross. Them niggas did not give a fuck. Because for one, it's really hard to kill a Klingon anyway, so if that nigga died, he deserved it. And then two, they're so fucking tough, they don't believe in that shit. The Klingons probably think medicine is gay. I bet you the Klingons think medicine is gay. Like, you gotta eat a plant to heal? You bitch-ass nigga. Look at this nigga. Everybody, look at this nigga over here popping pills to heal like a bitch. This nigga's gay. I bet you that's how the Klingons treat that shit.
We'll get to see our new Klingon character very soon when the series kicks off. Follow and subscribe for the latest Star Trek news. We've got a main Klingon character in the new series of Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
That's why him
now, this Klingon does seem a little bit different.
Is low-key gay. Like, even the fact that you want to be a doctor, Out of all the Klingon activities you could have been, nigga said, I don't want to fight. And nigga said, I don't want to fight. I want to hug people. What kind of Klingon wants to hug people? What kind of Klingon wants to heal people?
There was a time where Klingons solved their problems with batleths, blood wine, and a deep personal commitment to dying loudly. These were not people you invited to your feeling circle.
And notice the actual transition of everything, right? And this is what I mean. Look, clearly white people in blackface, right? But it was like sci-fi. It was the 60s. Nobody really tripped on it. Like, what else were we going to do? Hire a bunch of niggas? No, we weren't there yet. As a country, we just weren't there yet. So we all low-key just, we let them have that. We decided to not give them a collective L for that type of shit. And then we made them black, and then we made them gay. And it stands to reason, if you never made the Klingons black, would they even be gay to begin with? Because when the Klingons were white, they were just angry niggas.
These were not people you invited to your feeling circle. They were a warrior culture, so aggressive, in fact, that other Klingons thought that some Klingons needed to relax.
As soon as you made the Klingons black, the one nigga's a single dad in space with a crazy black baby mama who tried to keep his baby from him. It's like low-key, they made him black, but they also made it kind of like fucked up at the same time. And then they started making him gay. So now you went from a single space dad to a gay space dad. Went from Yakub to gay Waka Flocka. Like, am I lying about the timeline? The sequence of events is unmistakable. When they were white, they were just, depictions of angry space niggas, right? When the Klingons were all white, they were just righteous, angry space niggas. Then when you made them actually black, you made them like niggas, and then you made them gay. Come on, man. Am I wrong for noticing what you did? Look at how they massacred my boy.
Fast forward to the 32nd century, and Klingons are no longer asking whether today is a good day to die. They're asking whether everyone in a relationship feels seen. Honor has been replaced by healing, combat by communication, and
now here's the other problem, right? Have you ever seen the Klingon mating ritual? Yeah, we're going there, goddammit. We're going there. It's early in the day. I hope you got a strong stomach because we're going there. Have you ever seen the Klingon mating ritual?
If you think I'm here to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not. All right.
Yeah. I wonder if Star Trek, I know there has to be a YouTube video because we're going there. Because now that I think about it, this is just highly retarded to think about. Because there were moments where Worf, he was putting his thing down. There were moments where Worf was macking, Klingon style.
Food again, and I'll kill you. Okay, everybody relax. He took off my plate.
You don't mind, Ensign. I've been studying Klingon etiquette. You shouldn't quarrel over food.
Oh. You will make a worthy mate.
That's how Klingons give it up. They fight. Klingon love is vigorously violent. It is. They have violent love scenes. Like, they don't just get into it like Klingons don't do that. They don't believe in romantic going slow.
That is how the Klingon. That is how the Klingon lures a mate.
Now here's the thing. Right? You are asking me to imagine two males doing this to. You are asking me to imagine two Klingon males. Like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
Are you telling me to go yell at Celia?
No. Men do not roar. Women roar. And they hurl heavy objects and claw at you.
What does the man do?
He reads love poetry.
Damn. Wait a minute. Were Klingons always low-key a little bit gay? Hold up. Think about damn.
And they hurl heavy objects and claw at you.
And you read love poetry to him?
What does the man do?
He reads love poetry.
Damn, he just realized that, he just realized he was a little bit gay. Yeah, cause like when you gotta combat, you gotta have sexual combat with this aggressive female. That shit, all you doing is reading love poetry. He just realized, like, damn, I think I'm the bitch in this relationship. Damn. If you notice, that's why Worf never ever got with another Klingon woman ever again. Nope. After that, Worf was only with white alien bitches from then on. After that, Worf was like, nope, I ain't going back. I can't do it. That nigga said, I'm only fucking with soft white alien bitches from now on. Yo, it's crazy when you go back and look at shit with your adult woke eyes now. Klingon males are sus. Yo. Yeah. Did I tell you Worf made a really straight, like he was a straight up coon character. They made that nigga, they really put him at the crossroads of like the white man's world and some weird nigga matriarchy shit.
And they hurl heavy objects.
Save yourself, Klingon man.
What does the man do?
He reads love poetry. He ducks a lot. Bro. Now I'm starting to understand how they can evolve these niggas into a gay race, bro. Now I'm starting to understand the kind of like literary sequence of it all. They done evolve these niggas into space gays, bro. We are just one Star Trek series away from gay niggas in outer space, bro. I'm telling you. In another 10 years, when they come up with another version of the Star Trek universe, it's going to be just straight up gay niggas in outer space, y'all.
Worf, it sounds like it works great for the Klingons, but I think I need to try something a little less dangerous.
Go to her door. Beg like a human.
Said go to her door, beg like a human. All right, well, at least humans aren't fucking gay, bro. God damn. Say what you want about the humans, but they're not this gay.
The most dangerous thing a Klingon can now wield is a carefully worded explanation of who they are and why the galaxy owes them understanding. This isn't a joke. It's Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Then again, that show is a joke. So a lot of articles crossed the WCBS news desk, but one caught my eye this week that was so egregious that I had to talk about it because it's just so dumb. Why Starfleet Academy turned Klingons into polyamorous refugees.
Yeah, I got that article right here too. Why Starfleet Academy turned Klingons into polyamorous refugees. Like the video, y'all. I need to know. Klingons are one of the most iconic species in Star Trek, attracting a hugely dedicated fan base who admire their complex culture, even learn their language. The portrayal of Klingons has changed dramatically over the past 60 years, moving from a Cold War era standard for the Russians to noble warriors who could be the fiercest allies in any conflict. That was back in the 80s, early 90s when the Klingons was just, good black people to have around. Like, they were crazy, but, if they were on your team, you were going to win this fight. Now these niggas are just gay space people. So Jaden is a pacifist studying to become a doctor, and as a Klingon, he's strikingly different from Worf. Diane told Polygon he was worried about how his character would be received until he spoke to Dorn. Ah, fuck. Your uncle told you it was okay to be gay. All right, whatever, nigga. For 4 months straight, I was just a ball of anxiety. Klingons are iconic, and I know naturally people would compare me to the Klingon. Michael Dorn helped me just relax and said, just have fun and do it in your own way. Hell, Michael Dorn probably gay in real life too. Who knows? But they decided to make the nigga space gay. And so, there's that.
The Star Trek fans wish I was joking, but I'm not. This is going to be a good one. This comes from the polyamorous people populating Polygon.com. Klingons are one of the most iconic species in Star Trek, attracting hugely dedicated fan bases who admire their complex culture and even learn their language. The portrayal of Klingons has changed dramatically over the past 60 years, from a Cold War era stand-in for the Russians to noble warriors who could be the fiercest allies in any conflict. Starfleet Academy is reimagining them again in Episode 4, Vox and Excelso. Vox and Excelso focuses on Jaden Cragg. I guess that's a Klingon named Jaden. Is Jaden Smith a Klingon?
We're all Klingons now.
Probably. Starfleet Academy's only Klingon student. When a ship carrying 8 members of Klingon Great House to a refugee camp suffers a catastrophic mechanical failure, the Federation wants to offer assistance, but the proud Klingon refuses aid. Jaden becomes a voice of his culture when the issue is discussed in the school's debate class. What is this show? Following the long history of rhetoric-focused Star Trek episodes, Jaden faces his fear of public speaking to make his argument, coming up with a way for the Federation to give the Klingons a new homeworld without violating their sense of honor. The episode redefines what it means to be a Klingon warrior. That's not a good thing. Jaden is a pacifist studying to become
It redefines what it means to be a Klingon warrior. So not being a Klingon warrior means you're gay and you really, really want this white boy. You like gay, you like white spacemen. Not being a Klingon warrior means you're gay for white spacemen.
A lot of people seem to not understand me.
Doctor. Jaden also struggles with other people's expectations for him. His choices to pursue medicine and refusal to participate in the hunting ritual deeply upsets his parents. All 3 of them.
The nigga came out of a throuple. The nigga family is a throuple. What the hell, y'all? Make the Klingons white again. Can we just make the Klingons white again? God damn it.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
How your family a throuple?
In the hunting ritual deeply upsets his parents. All 3 of them. Starfleet Academy mentions polyamory in Episode 3 when Cadet Darren Ramey talks about his complicated love life, and Landau said introducing a Klingon triad. Jaden has 2 fathers and a mother. It's just another way the show is holding up a mirror to the...
How the nigga got not 1, but 2 absentee dads? What the... God! You gave him 2 absentee... So not only 1, but both of his dads abandoned him? So either he isn't gay enough or he's not Klingon enough.
The modern world. I have a lot of friends with kids. One mom, one dad. I have a lot of friends in general. They don't have kids, but they were raised with one mom, one dad. What is the modern world they're talking about? You know what? I've had enough of this article. Let me tell you why it's BS and not world class. Klingons weren't designed to be relatable. That wasn't a bug. That was the entire point. From the moment they showed up in Star Trek, Klingons existed to make the Federation uncomfortable. They were loud, aggressive, ritualistic, and emotionally backward by human standards.
Even in racial coding by the 90s, it was a similar kind of phenomenon, because the Federation is largely a white thing. It's the white man projecting himself into space, right? It's literally gay Hollywood hippies projecting themselves as gay space hippies. And even as gay space hippies, Black people make them uncomfortable. And so they wrote a show about it.
They valued honor over empathy, strength over compromise, and tradition over progress. And crucially, Star Trek never apologized for that. The Klingons didn't need to be explained. They didn't sit you down to clarify their worldview. They didn't care if you agreed with them. The Klingons were intentionally designed as an allegorical representation of the Soviet Union.
Not only that, but we learned about the Klingons almost through the eyes of Worf. And so you had that kind of half-foo experience where he has all the morality of the Federation, but all the posturing of the Klingon warrior. And it gave us a great kind of entry point into the Klingon world. And so in that way, they became more than just niggas. They became men.
And that tension with the US is what made them interesting and relevant. Now, this was during the Cold War, so Star Trek was being topical and important. And the tension between the two superpowers is what made Star Trek interesting. But today we don't have conflict, we just have conflicting feelings. The tension between the Federation and the Klingons is what made everything interesting. But Starfleet Academy flushed that down the toilet. In Star Trek, a Klingon episode wasn't about teaching the audience the correct moral framework. It was about forcing the Federation, and by extension the viewer, to deal with a civilization that fundamentally rejected their values.
Thank you. Thank you. That was the great allegory in Star Trek involving the Klingons. They constantly test your liberal morality, which is also the modern dynamic of modern liberalism and their love for the brown foreign other. It is constantly testing your liberal morality. What is more of a ideological point for you? Is it more important to have a country with definable borders, or is it more important to have this unrestricted empathy for the entire world of poor people? Because doing one will prevent you from doing the other. And this is the exact type of moral dilemma that the Klingon Empire presents to the Federation. How do we maintain our so-called pure moral standing and engage in this conflict in such a way that we don't lose our pure moral standing? The Klingon Empire was a great foil for that type of allegorical tale, but you threw that all away so you can make them a fucking thruple species.
Klingons believed in honor killings, ritual combat, and dying gloriously in battle. Starfleet believed in diplomacy, restraint, and survival. Those two philosophies were not compatible, and the friction between them powered the entire story arc for decades. That's why Worf worked, not because he was progressive, but because he was conflicted. He wanted to live up to the Klingon ideals in a universe that barely tolerated them.
Because Worf desperately wanted to be a real man in a world of space hippies. The internal conflict of Worf was understanding the raw, righteous, masculine, even if it was hyper violent. There was not an altruistic, but a sort of purity in the raw morality of the Klingon Empire. To kill is to live is good. Therefore, if I kill to live, I am good. There's a kind of purity in that moral system. And Worf was raised by what's effectively the gay empire. The Federation is gay space hippies with their gay space morality, which is all weird and complex. And we're trying to pretend we're not the bad people doing the bad things. But in reality, we are, in fact, a totalitarian space empire with just a slightly different rule system from the Klingons, right? And so Worf was internally struggling with his genetic call to be a real nigga, although I was raised in the framework of gay space hippies. That was a great character. They had so much emotional tension, so much existential crisis in that one character, and they threw it all away so you can watch a guy struggle because he got raised by a Klingon throuple.
He was too Klingon for humans and not Klingon enough for Klingons. His honor wasn't cute, it was inconvenient, often embarrassing, sometimes dangerous. And the discomfort from that
honor is sometimes dangerous. How can you transmit to a young viewing audience that honor can be sometimes dangerous through the character of an internally conflicted product of a Klingon throuple? Where the fuck am I supposed to extract something so emotionally and intellectually heavy as honor is sometimes dangerous from a goddamn gay baby throuple nigga? How, Sway?
Mattered. Old Star Trek understood something modern sci-fi keeps forgetting. Alien cultures are supposed to be difficult. They're supposed to be challenging the audience's assumptions, not gently mirroring them back with prosthetics and better lighting. When Klingons acted brutally, the show didn't rush to frame it as misunderstood trauma. Sometimes the answer was simply, yes, this culture is harsh, and that's the problem.
Sometimes niggas just do nigga shit, and you gotta meet them on that level every now and then. That was the Klingon struggle with the Federation. That was the Federation's intellectual, ideological struggle with even dealing with Klingons. You know, we're going to wear our nice, clean-cut Federation outfit. We're going to show up with all of our slick, ergonomically sophisticated design spaceship stuff, and we're going to watch the Klingons have a blood match. They're going to fight to the death using daggers and sharp rocks and sticks, and we're gonna celebrate the winner of that as the new president of the Klingon Empire, right? And we didn't even make it a thing. They didn't really struggle with it morally in the show, but that was the moral struggle. That's what made the contrast so jarring.
Modern Star Trek doesn't do that anymore. Instead of asking how civilizations with incompatible values coexist, it asks how quickly one side can be rewritten to fit the other. The rough edges get sanded down, the rituals get recontextualized, the violence gets rebranded as pain. And
so instead of everybody being unique and complex and having their own, sometimes hypocritical natures, the way we meet them all in the middle is to just make everybody space gay. If everybody is just a little bit more space gay, we can all just get along. That is the new allegory behind Starfleet Academy's DEI woke storytelling. Just make everybody space gay.
And suddenly, what was once a dangerous warrior culture becomes a case study in emotional processing. That shift wasn't subtle. Klingons no longer exist to challenge the Federation's ideals, they exist to affirm them. Their aggression is framed as something to overcome. Their traditions are obstacles to healing. Their defining traits are treated less like cultural differences and more like outdated software patches that need correcting. And that's where the problem starts. Because when Klingons stop being a problem, when they stop making the galaxy uneasy, they stop being Klingons. They become something else entirely. A familiar modern narrative wearing an alien face. And once that happens, the question isn't about whether Star Trek has evolved, it's whether it still understands what the aliens were for in the first place.
What were the aliens for in the first place? That's a great point. I'm going to play one last clip for you guys, and we're going to get up out of here because I got things to do. Well, maybe two clips, but It occurs to me now that in its own right, and especially, I'm going to play this speech from the Maquis. This is a clip from Deep Space Nine. But again, Star Trek is full of great allegorical moments. And it occurs to me that even in the world written by liberal hippies, where they imagine themselves as the noble space hippie federation, even the space hippies can become totalitarian.
I don't respond well to threats. I thought you would know that by now. But I'm beginning to see that you don't know me at all.
I know you. I was like you once. But then I opened my eyes. Open your eyes, Captain. Why is the Federation so obsessed with the Maquis? We've never harmed you. And yet we're constantly arrested and charged with terrorism. Starships chase us through the Badlands, and our supporters are harassed and ridiculed. Why? Because we've left the Federation, and that's the one thing you can't accept. Nobody leaves paradise. Everyone should want to be in the Federation. Hell, you even want the Cardassians to join. You're only sending them replicators because one day they can take their rightful place on the Federation Council.
You're not allowed to disagree with so-called paradise. The Federation is low-key the hippies projecting themselves into space, and the Federation is like, space paradise, and everybody should live by our space paradise rules. And if you would just be like us, just be a little bit more gay, you would all be happier. But what if you say no? What if you don't want to be a gay space hippie? What if you want to actually live by rules that make sense? What if you want to be a little bit more morally clear? What if you want to live by a morality that is less confusing? What if you want an identity that is less tolerant, as they say? What if you want an identity that is all your own? You don't want to become one of the many, many space gays. You want to be a real nigga. What if I just want to be a man in the world? Anything but that.
You know, in some ways, you're even worse than the Borg. At least they tell you about their plans for assimilation. You're more insidious. You assimilate people, and they don't even know it.
And that is how the Klingons became gay. It's an allegory unto itself. Their contact with the Federation will ultimately make them just as gay as the Federation. And what does that mean about what does that allegory highlight about this thing called representation? They represent you just to eventually pervert you. They represent you just to weaponize you. They use your representation to alter history and to invert morality. If your representation is now some type of weapon against truth and morality, what do they claim you represent? In conclusion, that is kind of the deepest part. That is the part that just rubs me. I think too much sometimes, and as I think about this, that is the one thing that just irks the hell out of me. Like, if your representation is a weapon against truth and morality, then what is it that you claim I represent? But anyway, like I said, maybe I think too much. Maybe I think too much. But you guys think about that a little bit more and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about it. You know, if my representation is in effect a weapon against truth and morality, then what is it that you claim that I represent? I just had to ask these questions, but like I said, you guys leave a comment. I'm going to wrap this up. I will check you guys later. Thanks for watching.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.